Man, the bad news keeps coming in this regard. So the Buffalo Bills blow out the Miami Dolphins last night, 31-10. I actually had this being a relatively close game, although I did, of course, pick Buffalo to win this one. They've traditionally kind of owned the Bills in the Josh Allen era. Allen has historically played very well against this Miami team, and Tua, conversely, has not done so well against the Buffalo Bills. But the story coming out of this is the fact that Tua Tagovailoa just suffered another concussion. It's his third undiagnosed. Let's be real. It's his fourth total in the last 2 years. It's a fourth down play. Miami was deep into Buffalo territory. They were down 3 touchdowns, need to try and put themselves in position just to get back into this football game. Tua runs for a first down, which is kind of uncommon for him, given the fact that we kind of think of him as this pocket guy. You know, he can move in and out a little bit, but he's not a dude who's just going to take off and run like a Lamar Jackson or a Justin Fields or somebody, or even a Josh Allen, the guy who's on the other side of the field or the other sideline. Runs for a first down, and who put, of all people, what are the chances? Damar Hamlin, who's been starting at safety for the Buffalo Bills thus far this season, God bless him, hits Tua Tagovailoa. Matter of fact, you could actually argue Tua lowers his shoulder, lowers his helmet into Damar Hamlin, goes down, and I swear to y'all, as I was watching this game, once that collision happened, I kind of like winced just because it's Tua, because I knew it was Tua. When Tua goes down, I'm not going to show the footage because it's tough to watch. You never want to see a guy get concussed. But when Tua goes down, his back is to the end zone. Keep in mind, the Miami Dolphins are inside the 10-yard line. His back is to the end zone. And he kind of stumbles and does the point for like the first down. Like, guys get a first down, they point for first down. And when he did that and was kind of wobbly, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. It just happened again. And of course, he was taken out, almost immediately declared a concussion, and of course, did not play the rest of this game. And there's been a lot of discussion, prognostication from shows like mine. And in terms of Tua's future, which I'll get into in just a second, I think generally speaking, anybody making any blanket statements about what he should do one way or the other, I think that should just be relegated. This is just my personal opinion. I think that should be relegated just to players and coaches because they know the game far more intimately than the rest of us common fans know it. We can watch football. We can root for football. We can be diehard fans of our teams or of the league. Nobody knows like the people who are in between those white lines or the people standing on the sidelines. So, you have your Shannon Sharps, your Des Bryants, your people out there just immediately coming out and saying, man, Tua's got to retire. So I understand that perspective, and I respect it one way or the other. Here's my perspective. This is now 4 concussions for Tua, and 3 diagnosed. It's been 4 concussions. We remember the one they suffered, ironically, against these same Buffalo Bills 2 years ago. It was actually his first NFL concussion. Remember, it was week 3. They were playing the Buffalo Bills. I think it was the first half. Tua throws a pass, gets shoved in the chest, and because Tua's not a big guy, goes down, and his head slams, the back of his head slams against the turf. And I'll never forget it on this show, and I love Dolphins fans, but so many were arguing with me because, hey, the Dolphins said it was a back injury, in which I said, and I stood on my ground, that is not a back injury. That is all-day concussion. Tua went down, slammed his head on the turf, stumbled up, kind of tried to shake the cobwebs out, then stumbled again. Like that was full stop. That was a concussion, no question about it. So he suffered 4, and we can show you, it's tough to look at, but we could show you Tua's injury history right here if we could put this up here. So there you go. Going back to college, knee patella sprain, high ankle sprain, another high ankle sprain the next season. And so these are, by the way, at Alabama. Then he, of course, had the brutal hip injury that he suffered his final year in his final game at the University of Alabama. So you have those situations in college. 2021, he had a chest rib fracture, and then you see the last 4, concussion, 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 and finally a concussion last night. Here's what I feel pretty confident in. Tua's going to talk to his family. I believe he's married, and I believe if he's not married, I believe he and his girlfriend, wife, whatever, have a child. So he's got a family. He's got, even his parents and extended family. Fox Sports did a great documentary about Tua when he was in Alabama, or coming out during the draft process in 2020. And just as lovable a family as you could possibly imagine. Supportive, tight, the whole bit. Tua, we all know, I've been critical of Tua in the past. Many have, just in terms of what he's done, or in some cases hasn't necessarily done on the field. Tua is an A+ human being. Tua is mature. He's very well spoken. He's got a family, something that he and I both share deeply is our faith, our common faith in Jesus. He's an A+ human being. And by the way, his Dolphins teammates couldn't speak any higher of them if they tried. They love him. Tua's going to speak with his family, and I think Tua's going to speak with the Miami Dolphins. I don't know what his decision will be, but I would be very, very, very surprised if that's not the case. Mike McDaniel, the head coach of the Dolphins, obviously after the game was talking about how, y'all are doing more, this is an exact quote, but y'all are doing more damage to the situation by discussing it. Just let Tua be. Let's give him time to heal and get himself back in a situation where he's in good shape. So I'm not going to be one to tell Tua to retire or not to retire. Here's what I will say. His deal got his situation and his decision to me, if he does decide to step away from the game of football, did get easier because of what happened this summer. And what happened this summer is that Tua Tagovailoa signed a long-term contract extension with the Miami Dolphins. Okay, $212 million. And I believe how much of this is guaranteed? $167.2 million guaranteed. So Tua's going to get the bag regardless. And it's funny, when I saw Tua go down, and he did, God bless him, walk away in his own power. That was great to see. Like, we've seen the second concussion, the first diagnosed concussion, the second concussion we all know he suffered on another Thursday night game against the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. Remember, Tua goes down, and then his hands are in weird positions. I mean, it was horrifying to watch. So it was a far cry from what we saw 2 years ago in that one Thursday night game. He walks off the field in his own power, great. But I couldn't help myself but think about Luke Kuechly. Remember, Luke Kuechly from the Carolina Panthers was the best linebacker in professional football. Full stop. I mean, was the anchor of a Panthers defense that complemented an MVP in Cam Newton, great Panthers offense, got to the Super Bowl with the 15-1 record in the 2015 season. Luke Kuechly was as great of a linebacker as we've seen in the 21st century. Awesome. But dear God, he suffered a lot of concussions. And there came a point in time where he had to say, and he even put this essentially in his retirement video, that there's only so much more hits I can take, and I've got a family, and I've got a future, and I'm young, and I'm healthy. I love football, but it's not worth it. Now, Luke Kuechly's a linebacker, so let's use a quarterback example. Not necessarily, parallel as it pertains to concussions, but how many quarterbacks in the last 25 years, in terms of the extended period of time, got hit more than Andrew Luck? And before I had a show, I used to bag on the Colts year after year. Would you please get this man an offensive line? He's taking brutal shots. I remember Andrew Luck played a game against the Denver Broncos, Peyton Manning's last year. It was his final game against his old squad. Andrew Luck led the Colts to a victory over the, at the time, undefeated Broncos with a lacerated kidney. I mean, the guy was as tough as nails, but man, he took way too many shots, and it came a point in time he was injured going into the 2019 season, and infamously, during a Colts preseason game, Andrew Luck retired. And he said, I can't take any more of these shots to my body while I'm still young and healthy. I don't know what Tua is going to do. I don't. If I had to guess, and I hate guessing on situations as serious as this, if I had to guess, I say that he probably comes back. When? I have absolutely no idea. That's a complete shot in the dark, complete guess. I think if the Miami Dolphins are smart, they'll do what the Packers should have done. Now, Jordan Love, less serious injury and potentially out for a less period of time. We'll see. But if the Dolphins are smart, they go sign their old quarterback, Ryan Tannehill. Like, Ryan Tannehill can work with these weapons in Miami with Tyreek. You don't want to waste a year with Tyreek Hill, with Jalen Waddle, those talented players on offense. I may not believe in the Dolphins like some do, but those are still way too good players to waste your season, with all due respect, with Skylar Thompson. I don't know what Tua is going to do. I'm not in a position. I've never played football. I've never coached football. So I don't feel like I'm in a position to voice my opinion as to what he should do. What I can say is the fact that he did sign that long-term extension this summer, $109, does this number right? $167.2 million guaranteed. he's set for life. And by the way, even if Tua steps away from the game of football, steps away from playing football, doesn't mean he has to step away from football entirely. One of the things when I was complimenting Tua, he's a very well-spoken guy. I always talk about how important it is. It's why I praise Caleb Williams despite his bad performance on Sunday. Being great with the media as a franchise quarterback is a prerequisite for the job. And Tua fills it A+. For my criticism of some of Tua's physical limitations, kid is awesome with the media. Fantastic. Maybe he wants to join the media. Maybe he wants to be a coach. Maybe he wants to work with Mike McDaniel's staff in Miami. Maybe he wants to go back to his alma mater at Alabama. I don't know what Tua will do if he retires. What I do know is he'll have options. He was a great college football player. He was a successful NFL quarterback, led the league in passer rating 1 year, led the league in passing yards another. He's had a solid career, short career thus far, and we'll see if this is it. But Tua's got the bag. Tua's had a successful college career. He'll have options. So at this point, Tua's not going to make any decisions yet. I'd imagine at this point, I think he talks to his family. I think he talks to Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins coaching staff, maybe even teammates to get their insight. And man, it was just a rough sight last night. Hated to see the kid go down under those circumstances once again. 4 concussions in the last 2 seasons. Yeah. Listen, I couldn't help but think about 2 things. Luke Kuechly, and thank God Tua got paid. Because had Tua not gotten paid and this happens, I can promise you, unless the Dolphins go to like the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl or something, they don't pay Tua. So praise be to the Most High that he got that bag and is set for life. And I have to imagine, listen, money isn't everything. I get that. Tua started playing football for the same reason that basically everybody in the NFL started playing football, for the love of the game. But the monetization of your abilities and of your talents isn't exactly the worst thing in the world. As a matter of fact, that's what draws some to it. Glad he got the bag. Praying for Tua for speedy and full recovery. The contract, I think, makes the decision easier. That's what I'll say. I won't judge him one way or the other if he stays playing or if he retires. But he does have to take into account he did get the bag. And that is huge. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.